Welcome back, heroes. Brace yourselves for part 3 of What If, where Deku's story takes a surprising twist. Don't forget to subscribe to my second channel, Snuggy Dude, for daily Deku fanfics. Link in the description below. Let's dive in. Vanessa, so, a date? She asked while watching as Izuku tried to find a good exchange. Izuku, no, it's not a date, it's a friend's outing. I mean, she took care of me for 15 years, so I owe her, he said as he adjusted his watch. Vanessa, my baby is growing up, watching as Izuku blushed. Izuku, I'm turning 16 in 2 months, 17, he said, puffing out his chest. Vanessa, if I had met Wade earlier, I could have enjoyed you more, she said, sighing. Izuku, don't say that. I mean, in a few years, there will be little broccolis for you to pamper, he said, making Vanessa surprised and laugh. It's true, her little one was growing up more and more. Later. Mayuri, seriously, you'll never change? I've been waiting for you for 5 minutes. Izuku, wow, sorry for being 5 minutes late, boss, he said, making Mayuri angry. Mayuri, whatever, the park doesn't close until 4, and since it's only 2, we still have time to visit other places, she said, starting to drag Izuku. Izuku stopped and stared at a window outside the store. A black dress with a ribbon around the waist caught his eye. Izuku, it's cute. Would Miss Momo look good in it? He wondered as Mayuri looked at him strangely until she realized what he was looking at. Mayuri, so, you like those kinds of dresses, huh? She asked, taking Izuku's hand and pulling him into the store. A few meters away, 2 people in brown suits peeked their heads from behind a pole. Momo, they entered that store, she said, narrowing her eyes. Erina, I think you might lose him if you don't do something, she said, pulling out a dengo. Momo, but they're not on a date. Why should I be worried? She asked, watching her mom shake her head. Erina, Momo, dear, I have to admit you have your charm, but a woman doesn't just win a man over with that, there are other things that work too. Momo, what are you talking about? Erina, you're too innocent to understand, she said, leaving Momo more puzzled. With Izuku and Mayuri. Izuku was bored watching Mayuri choose the dress he had seen along with several others and take them to the fitting room. Izuku, Mayuri sure is slow, he thought as he blushed instantly when Mayuri opened the curtains. Mayuri, how do I look, Izuku? He only had his cheeks with a slight red tint. Erina, that's what I meant, she said to Momo as they hid behind some fitting rooms. Momo, that doesn't mean anything, she said, turning her head. Izuku, you look lovely, he said in a whisper. Mayuri blushed, she managed to hear him, but of course, being a woman, she wouldn't let it end there. Mayuri, what? I couldn't hear you, broccoli, she said, making Izuku a little annoyed. Izuku, I said you look lovely, damn bleach blonde, he said, more annoyed than embarrassed. Mayuri, on the other hand, blushed more than she got annoyed. Mayuri, oh okay, she said as she closed the curtains again. She was really strange in Izuku's eyes. They had already left the store, now Izuku and Mayuri were in a jewelry store. Mayuri had been intrigued to enter, after all, she was a girl. But something was strange, they felt observed, and no, it wasn't by Miss Erina or Momo, he already knew they were following them, it was a very familiar presence, but he decided to ignore it for the moment. Izuku, this necklace would really look good on Vanessa, he said, looking at a gold necklace with 4 pearls in the center. Mayuri, who's Vanessa? She asked, a little annoyed. Izuku, my mother, he said, not paying attention to her tone of voice. Mayuri, oh, right, she was interrupted. Manager, damn it. Guard, he was here. He took the C diamond. Guard, this time the thief of the white glove didn't send any letter? He asked, equally worried as the manager. It really surprised Izuku and Mayuri, but how could they steal $1 million jewel with the extreme security it had? This was planned in a very meticulous way. Izuku, it's not our problem, let's not get involved in this, he said as he left the store with Mayuri. Mayuri, we can go to the park now, it's 4:15, she said, looking at her wristwatch, let's go. She was about to take a step when Izuku carried her bridal style and took a big leap backward. What are you doing, idiot? Put me down, she said totally flushed as everyone stared at them. But Izuku's face showed seriousness. It was unusual to see so much seriousness in him at this moment. Mayuri just watched as Izuku put her down and picked up a letter that was wedged into the pavement, precisely where she was standing. Izuku, 5 of hearts? He wondered, pulling out that card and then flipping it over, sincerely. Kaido kid? He pondered as he felt the presence following him disappear. This is all quite strange, he said as he ignored what was happening and started walking to the park with Mayuri. They had arrived at the amusement park, Izuku still thinking about how strange that had been. Was that card some sort of challenge? A declaration, perhaps? He was snapped out of his thoughts when he felt a pinch on his ear. Izuku, all right, Izuku complained. Mayuri, am I so insignificant that you don't even pay attention to me? She asked, quite annoyed. Izuku, of course not, it's just that I was thinking about what happened a few minutes ago. Mayuri, I find that's no excuse to ignore such beauty, she retorted. Erina, and to think that Mayuri would use her day off to steal Izuku from you, Momo, she said as they hid behind a dango stand. Momo, you'll get fat if you eat more dangos, she said, annoyed. Erina, just like you, all the food I eat goes straight to my, she was interrupted. Momo, they're gone, she said as she looked around. Erina, not at all, there's Mayuri, she said as Mayuri lined up for the roller coaster. Momo, but what about Izuku? Izuku, yes? He said as he walked past them with 4 ice creams. Momo/Erina, ah, they exclaimed in surprise. Izuku, here, take one each, he said, handing them an ice cream. Momo, how did you find us? Izuku, well. Later. Mayuri, so, you were around? She asked, not believing him. Erina, since we disrupted your little date, I'll pay for everything, she said, making Momo angry. Momo, you were supposed to be on my side, she whispered, offended. Erina, I switched sides, she said, smiling cheekily. Izuku, whoever throws up is a rotten egg, he said as he climbed up next to Erina, while Momo and Mayuri sat together. 3 Doritos later. Erina, how can you be qualified to defend my daughter if you can't handle a roller coaster? Then you won't be able to handle the coasters of Mo. She was silenced by Momo, who stuffed a dango stick into her mouth. Izuku, that roller coaster wasn't normal, he spoke with difficulty, trying not to vomit. Momo, surely Mayuri put something in his lunch, the blonde was angry. Mayuri, I have never put anything in his food other than a laxative, she said, offended. Izuku, wait. What? Erina, anyway, let's go back. Vanessa, it's beautiful, Izuku, she exclaimed joyfully at the sight of the necklace, but, are you sure it wasn't too expensive? Izuku, I've been working for the Yaoyorozu family for quite a few years, and they pay quite well, he said nervously smiling. Wade, let it go, Vanessa. The kid has enough to live a humble life without working for his whole life, he said as Vanessa was surprised. Vanessa, so one day you'll have to take me shopping, she joked. Izuku, of course, he smiled. Wade, but why? When I asked you for the PS4, you told me to buy it myself, why this indifference? He said as he went to a corner to cry. Early morning, the sun was just rising, and a certain blonde strolled through the Yaoyorozu mansion, humming a song. Momo, don't you think you're too happy? She asked, slightly annoyed. Mayuri, honestly, no. Yesterday was really great, she said happily, causing a vein to pop on Momo's forehead. Momo, you know he's mine, right? She asked seriously. Mayuri, really? Too bad I don't see his name on you, Miss Momo. She retorted. That made Momo a bit angry, but she'd deal with it later. Right now, she'd focus on finishing her cup of tea. Meanwhile, Izuku was walking through the city center. Vanessa had asked him to buy some vegetables for curry. Everything was normal until he noticed people staring at him. Citizen 1, it's him. Looks like he finally woke up. Citizen 2, seriously? That guy? Citizen 3, doesn't seem too banged up. Izuku, do I have monkeys on my face? He asked, annoyed by all the attention. Citizen 4, yes. It's him, the one who faced that thing and saved. What was his name? Citizen 5, Eraserhead, idiot. Citizen 6, hey kid, come here. Take a photo with us. Girl, hey, are you single? Citizen 7, I can introduce you to my daughter if you want. Izuku couldn't take it anymore and fled the scene. The problem was, even the supermarket cashier had insisted on getting his number, and now he was hiding behind a garbage barrel. Izuku, strange. Why didn't anyone crowd me when I was out with Mayuri? He wondered as he quickly leapt between buildings. Izuku didn't know what was happening. How did they know he had saved Aizawa-sensei? His friends' reports must have been very detailed, that was the only explanation. Are you an idiot? Asked a strange, twisted voice. Izuku abruptly stopped his jumps, something wasn't right. Izuku, if you're talking in my head, shouldn't you be a guy with a telepathic quirk? He asked, puzzled. Ha ha ha, is there really no limit to how stupid one can be? Izuku, reveal yourself now and stop hiding, you scoundrel, he shouted, very angry. All in due time, Izuku, said the voice, then fell silent. Izuku, either Wade's stupidity rubbed off on me, or the beating I got from the Nomu messed up a few circuits, he said, resuming his path. Later on. Vanessa, Izuku, Yue sent a notice, she said while setting the plates. Wade, probably telling us to go screw ourselves, the armor gets hit with a frying pan. Vanessa, as I was saying, it seems classes will resume on Wednesday. Izuku, that's great. Tomorrow I'll go to work with the Yar Roses. Miss Erina says I should take plenty of breaks for now. Vanessa, tell Miss Erina that you're still not fully recovered, she said, annoyed. Wade, but what are you talking about, woman? A good girl like her can't be turned down. Gets a knife in the forehead. Izuku, wasn't that too much? He asked Vanessa, watching Wade wriggle in pain. Vanessa, Izuku, when you're with a girl, never talk about another girl. It could be your downfall, she said with a look that sent shivers down Izuku's spine. Friendly advice, guys, v. Izuku, got it. Erina, alright, your task is simple, Izuku. Just help Tomoya clean the library, it's a punishment for both of you. Izuku, they had a library? He asked, bewildered. Tomoya, I'm just finding out too. And I'm the one who paid for this house, he said, confused. Izuku, why is he being punished? Erina, you don't want to know, she said sinisterly, making Izuku nod. Now, get started. Later. Izuku, my back hurts, he said, lifting some boxes. Tomoya, honestly, so does mine, he said, sitting on a box. Izuku, why did I get this punishment? I don't even remember making Miss Erina angry, he said, confused. Tomoya, did Momo suggest this punishment? He sighed, she says you cheated. Izuku, I did what? He asked, bewildered. Wait. I think I did, 2 years ago when Miss Momo didn't want to eat tomatoes. I took one and cut it into small pieces. Tomoya, on another note, Izuku, do you think your kids and Momo's will be strong? Izuku, mine probably will be, and Momo's too. After all, her quirk is very good. Tomoya, I meant your kids with Momo, he said, surprising Izuku. What will you do with them? Izuku, but what are you talking about? He asked, confused. Tomoya, TSK, you're a lucky guy, he said, standing up. Izuku, lucky? Tomoya, you'll find out later. For now, bye. I leave the rest to you, he said as he left the room. Izuku, he's really weird. Mayuri, are you so incredibly slow that you still haven't dealt with just a few boxes? Izuku, well, you left me here, and it's really hard to do it alone. Mayuri, if you ask me on your knees, I might help you, she said with a mocking smile. Izuku, I'd rather dye my hair when I want, he said, causing a vein to pop. Mayuri, idiot, she whispered before leaving the place. Unknown place. Finally found it. Are you talking about Izuku? Who else would I talk about? Shut up, idiot. Whatever, we have to prevent the tragedy of our dimension. The injustice of a painless world ended up clouding his heart, we have to prevent that from happening, we can't let him be born, he said, recalling a certain scene. And you volunteered as Kaido Kid? Obviously, yes, after all, I'm very famous. In our dimension, idiot. Here, nobody knows you. And they never will. The job is quick, we prevent it from happening and we leave. The Mayuri here is prettier than you. Mayuri, then stay with her. Yaoyorozu Mansion. Izuku, Miss Momo, I train every day. Is this necessary? He asked, dodging a tangerine and removing the bandage covering his eyes. Momo, of course, you need to improve your skills and dodge bullets. How else will you protect me, or do you always plan to take the bullets? She asked irritably.
Izuku, but a watermelon falls on his head and why is that?
He asked, looking at Mayuri, who had a satisfied smile. Mayuri, you haven't been yourself lately, she said, after which Momo nodded several times. Izuku, what are you talking about? He asked confused. Momo, it's as if you're even more of an idiot than usual, she said, remembering what the other Izuku told her. Izuku, whatever, Miss Momo, I have to go home, Vanessa gave me a task. Momo, do you think she could meet her? She asked, a little embarrassed. Izuku didn't understand, but Mayuri did. Izuku, huh? Who? He asked, tilting his head. Momo, Vanessa, she said, even redder. Mayuri, no, you can't. Momo, but why? She asked, annoyed. Mayuri, no, for nothing, it's just that, who would want to meet a cow? Izuku, damn. I better leave slowly, he thought as he walked away slowly. Momo, what's with that way of addressing someone who gives you a job? She asked, quite annoyed. Mayuri, excuse me, miss, she said, letting out a little laugh. With Izuku. He was jumping from roof to roof across the city. It was true that he said he would only use his quirk if necessary, but it was really fun to use it, especially when you couldn't be caught for using it. Izuku, this is the life, he shouted as he did a somersault off a building. Izuku ran, performing different maneuvers each time he jumped from one building to another. What had changed? What was a little different? Who cares? Izuku, I can be whoever I want to be, he thought as he walked and sat at the edge of a building. Izuku, but those dreams. Those dreams where I strangle Miss Momo really worry me, he said as he breathed a little heavily. That's not me, right? No, I can't be, he said as he gathered his full cowl in his hand. Surely it's just a stupid nightmare. I thought using quirks without a license was forbidden, said a somewhat familiar voice to him. Izuku quickly turned around but didn't see anyone until someone touched his back. I'm over here. Izuku, who are you? He asked upon seeing their familiar appearance. Izuku, who are you? He asked upon seeing their familiar appearance. I hope you don't mind if I put you to sleep for a moment. Izuku, what? He said before being surrounded by that strange black thing. Just sleep for a few moments. In an abandoned place. Izuku was waking up, he really felt like a horse had kicked him. Izuku, where am I? He asked confusedly, am I sitting? He asked before standing up. Hello, said a strangely recognizable voice, making him turn around. Izuku, Mayuri? He asked as he saw the blonde nod and take a bite of his ice cream. Where am I? I can answer that for you, said the strange guy who looked just like him. Izuku, it's you, bastard, did you copy my appearance? Toga? He asked really puzzled.
First of all, I'm not Toga, damn, it's scary you mistook me for her. Second, I am you, just not the you of this dimension, he said, sitting in the chair in front of him. Third, call me Kaito.
Izuku, Kaito? Anyway, why did you bring me here? He asked as his body was surrounded by green rays. Kaito, so, full cowled, huh? He asked, to Izuku's surprised gaze. Izuku, how do you know about that? He asked, to which Kaito let out a mocking laugh before activating his own full cowled. Kaito, didn't I tell you that you and I are the same but in different dimensions? Izuku, let's suppose I believe you, what are you doing here? He said, pointing at the two of them. Kaito, well, Mayuri is just accompanying me, believe me when I say that your Mayuri and mine are really totally different. Izuku, you haven't answered me, he said, making Kaito sigh. Kaito, alright, since you insist, I'll tell you, he said as he stood up and walked slowly until he was face to face with Izuku. The reason I'm here is nothing more and nothing less than to bring about your death, he said, making Izuku tense. Izuku, my death? What do you gain from it? Taking my place? He asked as his gaze turned more serious. Kaito, nah, I don't want to take your place. I'm not a villain trying to replace heroes or anything like that. I seek your death for a good reason. I never thought I'd truly seek to help society. Izuku, help society? Isn't that what a hero wants? Kaito, I've said I'm not a hero. In my world, I'm more known as a deceitful rascal, a thief. Mayuri, arrogant, perfectionist, egocentric, and an idiot, she said to finish the sentence. Kaido, exactly, that too, he said as Izuku's gaze turned to confusion. Izuku, you haven't answered, why do you want my death? He asked as faint green rays emitted from his body. Kaido, full cowled? Well, it doesn't matter. The reason I must kill you is that I want to prevent a genocide, he said as his tone shifted from playful to angry. Izuku, and how would my death help prevent a genocide? He asked, on guard. Kaido, seriously? Can't believe you're that stupid. Mayuri, look who's talking, his other self, you're just as dumb, she said, making Kaido angry. Kaido, Izuku, you will cause that genocide, he said as his eyes widened. Well, not you, well, yes, or rather Deku will, but well, Deku is you, so. Ah, I got confused, Mayuri, what was next? Mayuri, that's why he must be eliminated. Kaido, yeah, that's it. Izuku, get rid of this, he said trying to punch his face but Kaido easily stopped him with his hand. Kaido, your full cowled is pathetic, he said as black rays surrounded him. This is a 76% full cowled, he said as his fist hit Izuku's chest and he crashed against the wall behind him. Mayuri, don't you think you overdid it? She asked, watching as Izuku was on one knee and spitting out some blood. Kaido, do you know what he'll do, and yet you worry about him? He asked, looking at her annoyed. Mayuri, but when he and you are the same, my chest hurts, she said, holding her chest. Kaido, your noble heart never changed even when we lived through that, he said, putting on a smile, but his death is our mission, our oath. Izuku, shut up, bastard, he said as he stood up and activated his full cowled at 30%, take this, he said as he formed a fist and Kaido prepared to receive the blow, die. That's what he shouted, but the surprise of the other two was greater when Izuku took a big leap, breaking through the ceiling and quickly jumping away from the building where he was. Mayuri, he escaped. Kaido, that's right, he said as he scratched his neck. Mayuri, aren't you going after him? She asked, seeing Kaido sigh. Kaido, not necessary. I feel like I'll relatively see him again even if I don't look for him. His gaze rested on the forgotten katana, just run while you can. Deku. Mayuri, idiot. Izuku was holding his stomach, that blow really hurt him. What could he do? Go back home? Report to the police? A guy just like me who emitted black rays from his body knocked me unconscious, then when I woke up he tried to kill me to prevent a genocide. It was garbage. Izuku just sat at the edge of a building and lay down to look at the stars. Deku. That guy mentioned the name Katsuki used to mock him when they were kids. He could almost say he had forgotten that nickname. He was strong, not invincible, but he had confidence in having enough strength to protect Momo. But then the blow from that guy came to his mind, it really hurt him and he didn't even seem tired. Besides, why the hell did he have one for all? Many questions swirled in Izuku's mind, but in the end, he decided not to think about it. Izuku, this blow will hurt even more tomorrow, he said as he took a big leap and disappeared into the distance. Momo and Mayuri felt anxious. Izuku hadn't gone to work, and 2 days ago classes had started again. 2 days without hearing from the broccoli boy was unusual. Of course, he always let them know when he went on vacation or missions with Wade, but now he hadn't notified them of anything. Erina wouldn't say it, but she was also worried about what she thought would be her future son-in-law. And they became even more worried when Vanessa called to ask about Izuku when he didn't return that day. He supposedly left early to help Vanessa with some things. On the other hand, at UA, Aizawa wondered what could have happened to Izuku. They already knew he had woken up and they knew he was strong enough to be kidnapped. It was really strange. Izuku's house. Vanessa, do you think he's okay, Wade? I mean, it's been 3 days since we've seen him and he doesn't usually disappear like this, she said as she watched the mouthy mercenary arguing with a cockroach. Wade, we're talking about the brat, he quickly ducked, avoiding the cockroach. You bitch, now you fly? Trying to hit it with his katana. Vanessa, Wade, this is serious, we know nothing about him, and he's never left like this before. Could it be that I was a bad mother and that's why he ran away? She asked worriedly. Wade, nah, that kid has more mommy issues than heterosexuality. Yeah, got you, you bitch. Wait, how can you move without a leg? He said, climbing the stairs scared. I'll leave her to you, Vanessa. Vanessa just smiled. That idiot really cheered her up when she was sad, in his own way, but he did. On the other hand, Vanessa was right, and the kid couldn't just disappear like that. Shin, Wade, can you stop narrating? Wade, oops, fine, I'll leave it to you. Shin, unknown place. In a forest far from Tokyo, several explosions were taking place, one after another. Izuku, damn, getting used to using full cald at 30% was difficult, but I'll do it. That bastard used 76% effortlessly. He was sure he could do more if he wanted to. But for that, he had to train hard. Izuku, if I don't get stronger, that bastard could hurt Miss Momo and Mayuri, and I don't want them to get hurt. By the way, the girl with that guy was also Mayuri, but the kind of aura they emitted. 4 months later. Momo felt sad. They hadn't heard anything from him. Time passed, and they really began to miss him. Meanwhile, Wade received a message from Izuku with his current location. Sorry, this part of the story got lost, and I don't remember it well. Izuku, took you long enough, didn't it? Wade, told you, ran into some jerks on the way. Had to shoot 12 bullets at about 17 of them. Wade, come on, dude. Wade, now you're screwed, he said as he unsheathed a katana. Well, I'm feeling generous today, so no problem. Izuku, fight me, Wade. I want to show you how much I've improved, he said, unsheathing his katana. Wade, kid, Vanessa is gonna kill you when you get back, so I'll give you a taste of what's coming, mimicking Izuku's action. Vanessa, where have you been for 2 weeks, Wade? She asked, quite annoyed. Wade, well, as I said, the job I went to do took me several days, and then I had to regenerate what was left of my. Well, you know, he gestured. Vanessa, who could hurt you that badly? She asked, surprised. Izuku, you wouldn't believe me if I told you, he said, placing a suitcase on the ground. Vanessa, Izuku? She asked, somewhat incredulous. Izuku, no. I'm Valentine Eli. He didn't finish speaking as he felt a resounding slap from Vanessa, turning his head. I expected that. Vanessa, do you know how worried I was about you, young man? Yes, I know I'm not your mother, but even so, don't disappear like that again. Wade, serves you right. Izuku, shut up or you'll have to regenerate a testicle, he said as he sat down. Sorry, Mom. I was training and lost track of time. Vanessa, you'll go without dinner until Tony comes back to life. Wade, uh-oh. In trouble now. Izuku, alright, I accept. Erina, that boy, I just look at him and I fire him. Mayuri, if I may say, isn't it strange that Izuku hasn't been replaced yet? Erina, I can't entrust Momo's security to just anyone. And if someone tried to impersonate him, you and Momo would probably kill me. Mayuri. Momo, Mom, I'm going. The sports festival is today, she said as she entered the dining room. Erina, alright, be careful. Momo, don't worry, Izuku taught me how to fight, just in case any test requires it, as she left her house. Erina, I have a good feeling about today. Don't I, Izuku? She asked as he came out of one of the rooms. Izuku, indeed, he said, a half smile on his face. Mayuri, Izuku? She stepped back a few steps. Erina, I like your hair tied back like that, you should wear it like that all the time. Izuku, thank you. Erina, if what you told me is true, it's more than justified that you disappeared. Mayuri, I'm not understanding anything. Izuku, you don't need to. Erina, about the other thing, UA allowed you to take the corresponding exams to see if you were up to date. I'm surprised you passed them all. Izuku, I'm perfect, he joked a bit. Erina, you better go, you have a sports festival to win. Aizawa, alright, the festival will start in a few moments. I want you to win, go for victory, don't let that idiot Vlad-sensei beat us. Kirishima, a battle between men. Mina, yes. It will be fun. Uraka, I'll win this festival. Izumi, you're wrong, that'll be me, and I'll tell my brother to go home. Momo, or how about you shut up, little sister Khan. Izumi, you shut up, Meme-san. Ida, girls, calm down, he said, trying to calm things down. Bakugo, alright, let's kick some ass. Present Mike, alright, all contestants, go to the first trial. He requested as everyone started to line up. The first elimination trial will be an obstacle course race. Sero, sounds great. Tsuyu, pretty normal. Kaminari, I don't buy it. It's probably a UA-style test. Jiru, she's right. Present Mike, begin. Using your quirks is allowed, just don't kill anyone. Aizawa, try not to shout, please. The race began with Shuko and Bakugo taking the lead, she with her ice and Bakugo with his explosions. Izumi, that's unfair, she said as she rose with her fire. Momo, excuse me? You're the one being unfair, she said as she used some skates she had created. Bakugo, what the hell? He said as he saw a large robot blocking his path. Move, damn it. The robot was about to start shooting at everyone when a katana flew out at high speed, piercing it. Momo, a graphene sword? Present Mike, here he is. He's the guy who got first place in the entrance exam, Midoriya Izuku. Izuku, as expected, a UA-style festival, he said, landing on the robot and pulling out the katana. Hello, everyone, he said with a smile. From a great leap, Izuku landed where the others were. Kaminari, are you Escanor with epic entrances? He asked, smiling. Kirishima, this is getting more fun, doing push-ups. Ida, this is a race, Midoriya, activating his foot gizmos. By the way, I'm Deadpool, Shin isn't here, so he wrote the script for me. I hope you don't mind my little modifications. Izuku, the last one there is a potato with pimples, he said as he ran at Ida's speed without using his full cowled. Jiru, Midoriya, sometimes your examples scare me a bit, trying not to fall behind. Bakugo, I'll make you eat dust, Deku, propelling himself with his explosions. Momo, Izuku. Wait for me, she said, breathing heavily. Mineta, ha ha ha, having those boobs has its consequences. Falling off a cliff. Ha ha ha, damn Mineta, idiot. Present Mike, they've reached the second obstacle, how will they face it? Excited. As in the anime. Aizawa, nobody cares, he mentioned disheartened. Izuku, Miss Momo, forgive me for this, he said, disappearing from everyone's view. Momo, forgive what? She didn't finish as she saw Izuku take her bridal style. Idiot. What's gotten into you? She asked, completely flushed. Izuku, I told you I'm sorry, was the last thing Momo could hear before finding herself 15 meters above the ground. Momo, kya-a. Everyone present could only watch as a green blur jumped from side to side. Kaminari, I still wonder how he uses lightning to move faster. Deadpool, leave it, he's just a fool seeking attention. Izumi, how come you're here? Deadpool, Nezu kicked me out of the teacher area just because I tried to touch Mount Lady, well, I just asked if I could enlarge her. Boo, a scream interrupted him. Present Mike, they're taking the lead, and the others are standing still like idiots. Aizawa, fuck you, Kaminari. Bakugo, nerd bastard, you're not gonna escape, he shouted as he propelled himself with explosions. Momo, let me down, bring me down, trying to get Izuku to let her down by lightly hitting his chest. Yaoyorozu Mansionary na, the boy is doing well, she said as she took a cup of tea. Tomoya, yes, and to think that boy stopped 30 guys years ago. And with just a katana. Erina, yes. But if he hadn't been able to defend her, I suppose the driver would have. Mayuri, Izuku will win this sports festival, I know it. Erina, nobody questioned that, it's just that we're talking about whether he'll be able to protect her. I know he promised it, but you never get much out of something, he should be able to protect her even after they grow old together. Mayuri, I don't think so, Izuku will be mine, his gaze was serious. Erina, oh, do you really think you can win against Momo? She asked confidently. Mayuri, I know I can, he replied in the same manner. Sports festival present Mike, they jumped the hurdles, it can't be, it's almost like cheating, he shouted as he watched him approach the finish line with Momo in his arms. Izumi, don't even think about it, she said, propelling herself with her fire. Izuku, I'm sorry, Izumi, but this isn't your day, touching the finish line. It was then that the crowd erupted in applause. Momo, see, can you put me down? She asked, trying to hide her blush. Izuku, sorry, I just wanted to win and got a bit carried away, Momo lowered her head. Miss Momo? Momo, you're quite bold for a bodyguard, you know? She asked with a slight twitch in her eye. Deadpool, don't get mad, shorty, Spidey always used to carry me around when we were chased by Fisk's goons. Voice 1, he started already. Voice 2, Spidey didn't even like us, he was chilling with Tony. Deadpool, you guys are just jealous that I could touch Spidey and you couldn't. Deathstroke, Wade, they're all the same, Batman left me for the Joker. Deadpool, go to hell, nobody knows you. Present Mike, guards. Take Deadpool away, he started with his nonsense again. Well, as I was saying, from now on the second stage of the sports festival begins. Unknown location Toga, my Izuku looks so cool. The only thing I don't like is that he's with that bitch, I don't like it, I don't like it, I don't like it. Twice, Wade betrayed us, should we kill Vanessa? He asked analytically. Dabi, if you want Wade to stick his katanas up your ass all the way to your intestines and then make small cuts in your stomach to reach your lymph vessel, sure, let's do it, idiot. Twice, I'm scared now. Dabi, you know it doesn't matter what we do, we couldn't defeat Wade, he's just in another league. Toga, but can't we kill the bitch? She asked excitedly. Shigaraki, nobody's killing anyone yet. The boss knows very well when we should act, and if he tells us not to do it yet, we'll wait. All for one, for the first time since I became All for One, I feel truly excited, I'm going to finish off the heroes completely, he said with a big smile on his face. Besides, I think we'll have more allies. Twice, what about Wade? All for One, that guy scares me a lot, don't even think about touching his wife, he's crazy. I met him several years ago. And he stuck a katana into me, he was interrupted. Dabi, alright, I think we've talked enough about that topic, we should observe the boy better if we want to. Twice, are you gonna attack your precious little sister Shuko? Sis can jerk. Dabi, don't mess with my sister, he shouted angrily. Twice, the day is coming, All Might's fall is near, he said in an unusually serious tone. Sports Festival Shin told me to skip the cavalry part, so I'll go straight to the battles. Either way, they'll be the same as in the anime. Regards, Deadpool. Present Mike, the first battle will be Izuku Midoriya against the student Shinso. Izuku, so, my first fight is against Shinso, as he finished swallowing a piece of bread. Momo, do you know him? Izuku, I haven't talked to him much, but I heard him saying that if he won the sports festival, he could advance to the hero course. Ida, enough talk, Midoriya, it's time for you to step up. Moving his arms like a robot. Izuku, coming, he said as he left the rest area. Midnight, alright, the two fighters are face to face, begin. Shinso barely managed to jump back, barely dodging a blow from Izuku. Shinso, how the heck are you so fast? He asked, barely managing to dodge Izuku's kick. Shinso could only keep his distance from Izuku's punches. Shinso, so. Tell me, you're pretty strong, aren't you? Do you take calcitos? Izuku just raised his eyebrows in confusion. Izuku took a few steps back and removed some earplugs. Izuku, sorry, did you say something? Shinso, earplugs? I was asking why you weren't using your quirk. Izuku, that's because, Izuku froze. Shinso, alright, now get off the platform. Izuku did as asked, starting to leave the platform. Present Mike, what's this? Midori is heading for the exit, it seems he's giving up. Shinso, those who are just pretty faces and idiots like you should just screw off, along with that girl you're protecting. What, is she so pathetic that even in UA she needs protection? He arrogantly asked as he saw Izuku about to step off the platform. But that pride went down the drain when he saw Izuku's body starting to release green rays with a faint red tint. Izuku, you can say whatever you want about me. Even about Wade, you could talk shit, he said through gritted teeth with effort. Shinso, what the hell? Izuku, there are 3 people I'd never forgive you for talking about. As he disappeared from where he was standing, and you just named one of those people. He grabbed him by the collar and lifted him up, I'm asking you to never mention something like this again. Shinso tried to break free from Izuku's grip, but he wouldn't budge. Izuku, understood? Izuku's gaze showed both great calmness and anger. Shinso, alright, I surrender. He said, trying to avoid Izuku's gaze. Present Mike, I don't understand what happened, but the winner is Midoriya. Aizawa, stop shouting, idiot. Deadpool, I wanted him to give him a good beating. Aizawa, what are you doing here, Wade? He asked as the loudmouthed mercenary took the microphone. Deadpool, in the land of China, the little Chinaman got lost, as I was also lost, we met, a bullet pierced his head. Present Mike, don't you think that was too much, Aizawa? He asked, looking at the bleeding mercenary. Aizawa, it's a habit. Izuku headed towards the rest area, trying not to turn back and tear Shinso in half. Izumi, I guess that was too easy for you, or am I wrong? Izuku, that kid has the potential to become a great hero, he just doesn't know it yet, he said, looking at the ground. Deadpool, alright, let's get to what really matters, good fights. Present Mike, Bakugo advances to the final. That means the second semifinal is up next, Midoriya Izuku vs Shuko Todoroki, he shouted while trying to dodge Aizawa's bandages. Aizawa, I'll catch up to you, Mike, annoyed. Mansion Yaoirozu Erina, I'll ask Izuku to train Momo better, she lost against that boy Tokoyami, He was good, but Momo could have done better. Tomoya, Erina, can you please just enjoy the fight? Sometimes when you get worked up, you get mad at everyone. Mayuri, neurotic old lady. She whispered quietly. Erina, excuse me? She asked, looking offended. Mayuri, neurotic. Erina, you won't get the extra bonus this week, she shouted as she turned her head. Mayuri, I used my extra bonus to buy tranquilizers, she replied mockingly. Tomoya, I better leave before these two crazy ladies turn on me. He muttered. Mayuri/Erina, say that again, they both said with red eyes. Tomoya, shit. Izuku, please come and save me, please. Sports Festival Izuku threw himself to the ground, avoiding 3 ice daggers heading straight for his throat. Izuku, so, you're going straight for my head? He asked, dodging an ice pillar. You're too predictable, don't you think? Shuko, I don't know what kind of fights you've been in, but the ones I know don't involve talking. She said as she created several ice spikes and sent them towards Izuku, who only dodged or cut them with his katana. Izuku, maybe that's why you're so predictable, he replied, quickly moving his katana to cut through all the ice he could. Shuko, why don't you fight seriously? I've seen you do it, you're more than just dodging and cutting, show your red rays. Izuku, red? What are you talking about? And you haven't used all your power either, your fire part is missing. If you defeated Dabi with it, it means you're strong, right? Shuko, I won't use it, I used it that day because my father wasn't there, and if I use it now, it'll tell him that I finally accepted his damn quirk. Izuku, seriously? You're not using your quirk because of a babyish tantrum? And I thought Wade was traumatized. Shuko, what are you trying to say? She asked, quite annoyed. Izuku, I'm saying that if you only use your ice side, you won't be able to defeat me. Well, even if you use the fire one, I don't think you'd be able to defeat me. An arrogant smile settled on his lips. Shuko, shut up, idiot. Her expression had changed to an irritated one. If I used my quirk, you'd definitely end up charred. Izuku, blah blah blah, come on and prove it, grumpy girl. Shuko, my name is Shuko. Izuku, whatever, grumpy girl, come at me, calling her with his hand. Shuko couldn't resist anymore and launched a combined attack, a whirlwind of fire along with an ice pillar. The last thing they could see was how these attacks hit Izuku. Present Mike, this rematch is gonna be one of the best, striking weird poses. Aizawa, how do you know it's a rematch? He asked seriously. Present Mike, well, I'm also a teacher at UA, right? Aizawa, of course, you're not. You're just our spokesperson. Present Mike, be right back, guys. I'll take a break while the participants get ready and while I finish crying, as he got up from his seat. Deadpool, poor guy, you broke his chicken heart. With Izuku. Izuku was stepping onto the platform with a somewhat calm look. He knew Bakugo would be an easy opponent to read and then overcome. Izuku, let's end this quickly, he whispered to himself. After all, he had dreamed of being the #1 hero. On the other hand, Bakugo seemed more serious than usual. He knew Izuku was strong, possibly stronger than him, but there was something off. 11 years ago, he had no quirk, but suddenly he reappears out of nowhere with one. The two stood facing each other, both staring into each other's eyes. Bakugo swore he saw a quick red gleam in Izuku's eyes for a brief moment. Midnight, begin, she shouted, stepping off the platform. Izuku, let's have a good fight, he said with a smirk. Bakugo, shut up, bastard. I'll decide that myself, as he placed his hands behind his back. Izuku just chuckled and prepared to see Bakugo propel himself with explosions, aiming a kick at his abdomen. Izuku, if you want to knock me off the platform, you'll have to try harder, he said, crossing his arms to shield his body. But Izuku didn't count on Bakugo spinning in the air and landing an ascending kick to his nape, stunning him. Elsewhere, Class A was watching the fight, which seemed to be taking a notably different turn than predicted. Momo felt uneasy, she sensed something different about Izuku moments ago. She feared that him or that would return. And if he did, what would make him come back? Kaminari, ouch, that's gonna hurt tomorrow, and possibly the day after too. Monoma, ha ha ha, look, two Class A idiots beating themselves up, just as expected from those orangutans. He was put to sleep by a punch from Kendo. Kendo, sorry, he's like that sometimes. Kaminari, who else thinks they should put him in Arkham? On the platform, Bakugo took advantage of Izuku being stunned to grab him by the head and slam him to the ground, followed by an explosion. Present Mike, Did he knock him out? He asked, seeing that Izuku wasn't moving. Bakugo, I told you, I'm far superior to you, always have been, before, now, and after. Now that you've reappeared with a quirk and boasting about it, it pissed me off quite a bit, you know? As midnight was about to declare Bakugo the winner, Izuku started moving. With almost no effort, he stood up and began cracking his neck, a thin line of blood running down from his forehead to his cheek. Izuku, you always sound pretty annoyed. How would I know if I got you mad? He replied with a mocking smile. Bakugo, I knew those simple attacks wouldn't be enough to finish you. Izuku, you thought right. Bakugo, after you disappeared, your mother and sister were devastated. Your father even left the country because he felt guilty and couldn't face your mother. She used to come to my house crying all the time, my mother would comfort her. Izumi wasn't any better, she wouldn't talk to anyone at school. Izuku, shut up. Bakugo, she'd reject anyone who tried to play with her. Once, I followed her to a forest. She stood in front of a tree that seemed like a treehouse. It was wrecked. So Izumi would go to that forest every day to rebuild that treehouse. Izuku, I told you to shut up. His hair covered his face. Bakugo, when she finished rebuilding it, she went inside and started crying, saying, Izuku, come back, let's play together again, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. She'd repeat the same until she fell asleep. I didn't know what to do. I felt bad for her, for your mother, and I felt bad because my friend was either dead or gone. Bakugo started clenching his fists, his gaze turning to one of hatred. Izuku, please, shut up. Bakugo, but you came back smiling, like nothing had happened. You only smiled at that melon bitch. If you were still alive, you should have gone back home and prevented your sister and mother from going through such pain. His gaze was full of rage. Izuku, I told you to shut up, he said, lifting his gaze, his iris completely red. His look expressed hatred. Deadpool, oh god, oh god. Aizawa, those eyes, could it be him? He asked, leaving Present Mike puzzled. Present Mike, what are you talking about, Aizawa? Izuku disappeared from his spot and appeared in front of Bakugo, grabbing his face and starting to crush it, red rays emanating from his body. Izuku, you know nothing about that night, he yelled as he buried Bakugo into the pavement. You don't know what they did to me, how they treated me. You know nothing. Does Bakugo want to know what it's like to dance with the devil in the moonlight? He asked calmly. Deadpool, I think there's only one way to stop him, he said as he headed towards the other members of Class A. Kaminari, now I honestly think we're all going to die. Mineta, rest in peace, Bakugo, in a praying pose. Jiru, but he's not dead yet. Mina, guys, I don't think he's trying to kill him, she said a bit scared. Deadpool, balls, I mean, hey guys. Momo, Mr. Deadpool? Deadpool, Miss Boobs? Whoa, he shouted as he felt Jiru's connectors on his head. Jiru, don't be a pervert. Deadpool, do you have Izuku's backpack? He said somewhat dizzy. Momo, yes, here, but why do you need it? She asked, confused. Deadpool, I don't know if you remember, but Izuku once said he had countermeasures for each Class A member, as he began pulling out each of Izuku's books, Spanish, boring, math, Death Note? No, let's see, the Ned Manual, nope, Pedro Paramo? Gross, here it is, Hero Notebook. Jiru, I think I'm getting it. Kaminari, if Izuku wrote countermeasures for each Class A member, it means there's one for him too, right? Deadpool, ding dong, let's see, Great Orca, Kamui, Hawks, Mirko, oh here I am, let's see, Deadpool, weakness. Cutting off his balls? Oh, now I'm sure they cut them off. Oh, here it is, Izuku Midoriya, weakness, none? Momo, what does that mean, Mr. Deadpool? Deadpool, well, it means there isn't one, or maybe there is. With Izuku. He was holding the almost unconscious body of Bakugo. Izuku just threw him off the platform, but with some quick explosions, Bakugo regained his composure, barely standing. The spectators watched the battle unfold, but they couldn't interfere because both were conscious, well, one more than the other. Bakugo, damn. You really are a monster, he said barely audible to Izuku. Izuku, being a monster is relative, depending on everyone's perspective. With a serious look, now just sleep. Izuku was about to deliver the final blow, his right arm emitting red rays. He wouldn't kill him, but he wouldn't wake up for a while. He was about to hit him when he heard a phrase. Deadpool, you're just a worthless quirkless loser, you'll never amount to anything in life, you're worthless, just a useless quirkless loser. Those words hit Izuku hard. He opened his eyes wide and started hyperventilating. Izuku looked at him as if he were crazy. Izuku, what are you trying to do? Deadpool, since you have no weakness, I figured I'd find you one. Izuku, what? Midnight, you're going to sleep now, she said as she hugged Izuku, and pink gas emanated from her body, causing Izuku to fall asleep in her arms. Izuku, it's a good day to die, he said as they put him to sleep completely. Deadpool, you've done it again, Deadpool. Voice 1, that Midnight has a nice butt. Voice 2, if Vanessa hears you, she'll kill us both. Deadpool, all three of us, actually. It was a somewhat dark place, not a single spot illuminated, darkness reigning supreme. Izuku slowly began to open his eyes and frantically started to look around, putting himself on guard. His gaze quickly scanned the area, searching for any clue as to where he was. To feel a bit safer, he tried to grab his katana, but something strange was happening, it wasn't where it should be. Izuku, what the heck? He was practically defenseless without it, unable to trust his eyes, and his katana was nowhere to be found. Question mark, Nana, this kid is fantastic, a voice exclaimed with a hint of pride. Hearing that, Izuku activated his full cowled and crossed his arms, expecting an attack. Question mark, I told you, Toshi found the perfect successor. Izuku, who are you? He asked, narrowing his eyes threateningly. Question mark, no need to get defensive, kid. My name is Nana Shimura, a former holder of One for All like you. Question mark, like her, I'm one of yours, or you're one of mine, the guy appeared, and what Izuku saw truly surprised him. He was just a normal guy, wearing a biker jacket and some glasses similar to Aizawa's, or so he thought, as he couldn't see where they began or ended because he was bald. I'm an old former holder. He recognized the girl who appeared with the guy as All Might's former master. Izuku, I know you, Nana Shimura, the seventh holder of One for All, All Might's teacher who died at the hands of All for One, he finished reciting. Nana, indeed, you do know me, she said with a big smile. Izuku, but if you're dead, how can I see you? Old guy, because you're dead, idiot, duh, he said as if it were the most obvious thing in the world. Izuku, what? Wait, what? How? Why? And Miss Momo? He said, holding his head, trying to comprehend it. Nana, ignore this idiot, she shifted her gaze towards the bald old guy and began to glare at him. Old guy, sorry, had to do it, he started to analyze Izuku all over, that's an unusually way to use One for All, the sparks are new. Nana, you notice that too, huh? She asked with a big smile, seems like the curse that comes with having that quirk will end with you, kid, she said with a hopeful look, but I see two paths in you, kid, her gaze changed to one of total seriousness. Old guy, that's not true, I see three paths, Mayuri, Momo, and there's also the path of incest, don't follow that last one, it's dangerous, he said, winking. Nana, don't mind him, she said with noticeable anger in her voice, better shut your mouth, you damned pervert. And you, Izuku, you have two paths in you, something no holder or hero has had before. Old guy, ah, that's what you meant, surprised, kid, better not turn into another Hitler or who knows how this world will end. Izuku, I really don't know what you're talking about, he said totally confused, Hitler? Why would I be like him? Nana shrugged, we won't explain everything and hand it all to you on a silver platter, you have to figure it out yourself, but you better do it fast before you become that. A really bizarre image appeared in Izuku's mind, an image that left him breathless. It was a landscape representing death, the sky was gray from so much destruction and ashes, the streets were filled with blood, and the walls partially destroyed. It was an image of an ordinary avenue, but the most striking thing about it was seeing several heroes completely flayed, some missing body parts, others simply bleeding out there. But what stood out the most was seeing himself with a satisfied smile, reaching for excitement as he held All Might's head. Izuku, ah, he screamed, waking up abruptly and activating his full cowled out of pure reflex. Mayuri, kya, was Mayuri's scream when she was really surprised by Broccoli's strange action. Izuku, Mayuri? He asked while trying to normalize his breathing, what are you doing here? He asked strangely, observing that the place he was in was his home, where he lived with Wade and Vanessa. Mayuri, you passed out at the sports festival, she replied a bit calmer, Mr. Wade brought you here after Eraserhead gave permission. Miss Erika asked me to come here to assist you with anything you might need. Izuku, I see, so that's what happened, he said, sitting on the edge of the bed. And Miss Momo? He finally asked, still with that image in his head. Mayuri, she was here until recently, she left after 8 p.m. Izuku, I see, at least this time I didn't pass out for half a month. Mayuri, and I'm grateful for that, she whispered, but Izuku didn't catch it. Izuku, did you say something? Mayuri shook her head. Mayuri, you just need to rest a bit, she said as she pushed Izuku back into his initial position and covered him with a blanket. You're still not fully recovered, even though that ash-haired kid barely touched you. Izuku noticed that Mayuri's behavior had changed somehow. She hadn't called him scum, jerk, parasite, or anything like that in a long time. He wasn't going to admit it, but he was starting to feel scared of this new Mayuri. Interrupting, Vanessa opened the door to Izuku's room. Up until that point, Izuku had kept his eyes closed. Vanessa, how is he doing? She asked, pulling a small object from behind her. Mayuri, the sleeping beauty, what are you doing? Mayuri asked alarmed, seeing Vanessa throw a knife at Izuku's face, and he just caught it by the handle without opening his eyes. What the heck? She wondered, totally surprised. Vanessa, if Izuku is deeply asleep, all it takes is throwing a knife at him to wake him up. Izuku, but I was already awake, he said, standing up again. Mayuri, you need to rest, she said with a soft voice, trying to get Izuku to do as she said. Izuku, I feel perfectly fine, Mayuri, you don't need to worry, he said, sending a big smile to the blonde, causing her cheeks to adorn with a slight pink hue. Vanessa didn't miss this, and a big smile spread across her face. Vanessa began to set the table. Wade had sat next to Izuku, and Mayuri was on the other side, looking a bit embarrassed. They didn't wait to invite her to dinner. Mayuri, this is really good. Chio barely tasted a spoonful of Vanessa's curry. How did you make it? She asked with stars in her eyes. Vanessa, never underestimate a mother's dishes, puffing her chest with pride, although, well, it seems Izuku likes your cooking more since he always talks about it. Mayuri was surprised and turned to Izuku, watching as he blushed heavily. Izuku, that's not true, Mayuri, don't believe her, he quickly denied. Wait, you're doomed. By the way, here, you got first place in the sports festival. Izuku almost choked, he had completely forgotten about it. Vanessa, I have something to confess, she said while her voice trembled a bit. This didn't go unnoticed by Wade or Izuku. I didn't expect it, I didn't think it was possible. Wade, are you okay, Vanessa? He asked with the same worried expression as Izuku. Vanessa, I'm fine, well, I don't know, I think so. Such an answer left Izuku, Wade, and even Mayuri, who didn't understand anything, more confused. Izuku, are you okay? Mayuri, she just elbowed him. Vanessa just let out a small sigh, mentally preparing herself to say something. Vanessa, I'm pregnant, she finally said. The reactions of everyone varied. Mayuri's face only reflected a big smile of happiness. The news of a baby was always welcome. Izuku seemed like he had been hit with a smash to the face. His surprise was really evident, but his face slowly changed to one of happiness. On the other hand, Wade, what kind of expression could be called that? His mouth was wide open, and due to surprise, he had choked on the spoon stuck in his throat and began to choke. When he finally pulled out the spoon, he only uttered one word. Wade, how? He said as his face changed to one of happiness, weren't you infertile? Vanessa, I thought so, but a few days ago, I started feeling nauseous and dizzy. Doubting whether to believe it or not, I went to the hospital, and to my surprise, I found out that I was pregnant. It turns out that my fertility rate was low, not nil, she said with excitement. Wade stood up from his seat, lifted Vanessa, and started spinning her in the air while showering her face with kisses. Wade's great happiness was evident. Izuku, I'm going to have a little sibling, he said softly, trying to process it all. Izuku was thinking in his room. Last night had been full of surprises. He still felt a little excited about the news of becoming a brother. Mayuri spent the night at his house, although Vanessa didn't allow them to sleep in the same room. Upon hearing this, Mayuri just furrowed his brow a bit, but in the end, he didn't dwell on it. Izuku would rather focus on the scare he had this morning when he woke up. Flashback. Izuku woke up suddenly sweating profusely, a little out of breath. He placed his hand on his face to support himself. The weird thing happened when he felt a certain sensation in it. Izuku, what the heck? He thought, looking at a strange black mass coming out of his hands, what is this? Trying not to panic. Izuku shook his hand trying to get rid of that thing, but all he managed was to make it expand and finally get trapped in it like a rope. Izuku, crap. Mayuri, are you okay? I heard a loud noise earlier and... What are you doing? Mayuri looked weirdly at Izuku's position, are you a masochist? With disgust. Izuku, help me get rid of this and don't ask questions, he said starting to panic. Mayuri approached Izuku grabbing that black thing that wouldn't let go of Izuku. Mayuri, if you didn't move, it would come off easier. Izuku, I think if I relax it might. Mayuri, how do you know? Izuku, Harry Potter, he finally sighed. Mayuri, keep it up, said pulling that thing. Vanessa, are you guys okay? She asked before seeing that scene. Mayuri was on top of Izuku holding an Izuku with a black rope, so those are your fetishes. Should I try it with Wade? Izuku, Mom? Mayuri, what? Wait, no, it's not that, blushing, I haven't made my move yet. Izuku, wait. What? Vanessa, don't worry, but you guys are protected, right? End of flashback. After that, it was really hard to explain everything. Now, changing the subject, that bald guy who talked to him when he was unconscious, said something about awakening other quirks, was he referring to this? If so, it was really cool. Izuku, I guess it won't help to think about that now, leaving his room. Yaoyorozu Mansion. Erina, you know, I'm reconsidering you being a good bodyguard when you faint over everything. The old Izuku was much stronger. Momo, Mom, that's enough. Tomoya, honey, I agree with Momo, after all, I think we should congratulate him for winning the sports festival. Erina, of course not, his duty was to win the sports festival, otherwise, how would he be worthy of being Momo's bodyguard? She finished with a question. Inside, Izuku felt he was getting a bit tired of those shouts. If he hadn't really grown fond of everyone in the mansion, he probably would have quit by now. Izuku, you're right, I'll become even stronger. Erina, and congratulations, I heard you'll be a big brother? Izuku, that's right, he said, changing his expression to a smile. Erina, someday I should meet your mother and have a chat with her, you know, mother-in-law to mother-in-law. Momo, Mom, she said blushing and a little irritated. Mayuri, tch. Tomoya, this is becoming quite normal, don't you think, Izuku? Izuku? Mayuri, he left a moment ago, she said pointing to the exit of the room. Izuku had a serene look on his face. A moment ago, Wade had sent him a message, and he only called when it was really necessary. Come to UA right now, no questions. Right now, he was jumping between buildings to get to UA, he had a feeling he wouldn't like what he would hear. Upon arrival, he saw Aizawa and All Might outside the school waiting for him. All Might, that was fast, Midoriya young man. Aizawa, let's go in. Once inside UA, Izuku followed the teachers to the principal's office. The whole journey to that place was relatively quiet, no one spoke. Aizawa, let's go in. Inside the office, Wade was standing there in his suit, looking at him. Deadpool, damn it, kid, couldn't you have arrived faster? The little weirdo was boring me about how he was born being a rat. Aizawa had to resist laughing at Wade's comment. Nezu, to start the conversation, I have to say that I already know you two are mercenaries, pointing at Izuku and Wade, but that's not why I called you. Izuku, then? Serious. Aizawa, we have an informant in the League of Villains, he gives us valuable information to all the most capable heroes. Deadpool, and who would that informant be? Aizawa, Hawks. Deadpool, the pigeon? Izuku, I think he qualifies more as a bird hero than a bird. All Might, I say he qualifies more as a hawk man, I mean, his wings are long and he can fly at great speeds. Aizawa, no, you're wrong, he looks more like an owl, his wings are white and pretty. Nezu, to the point, he said seriously. Aizawa, I'm sorry, what happens is that, we know the location of one of the League of Villains bases, we believe All for One could be there. Nezu, this is where you two come in, you must go to find out if it's true, remember it's a stealth mission, no combat, just check if it's true, it's just a reconnaissance mission. Deadpool, in simple words, take a look and come back. All Might, yes, I would like to go, but unfortunately I am very conspicuous and wouldn't pass as an infiltrator. Nezu, do you accept the job? Obviously, you will be paid, since this is not an official operation. Deadpool, oh, I was wondering why mercenaries. Well, the kid and I will do the damn chimichangas, right? Izuku, yes. Izuku was in one of UA's training grounds practicing with All Might. He was quite tired and at one point collapsed. What's wrong, young Midoriya? Can't keep up with One for All training? All Might looked at him with pride. You've been mastering One for All splendidly, but I don't see any progress. Izuku remembered something from earlier that morning. I wouldn't call it progress, but I woke up with this strange black thing coming out of my fingers, he said thoughtfully. Maybe it's an evolution of One for All? All Might? The muscular blonde just stood there, motionless. Finally, he reacted and began stretching as if he hadn't heard anything. Shake off the sand, young Midoriya, he said strangely, then started doing the Macarena. Do you know something, All Might? Do you know what that was? Izuku asked with a serious look. I can't do anything if you don't give me all the details. Young Midoriya, All Might's tone was serious. Tell me, did you have something like a dream or so? Yeah, actually, and there was a bald guy in a biker jacket. As I feared, did that guy mention anything to you? He told me to follow the 3 paths and something about more quirks. As I thought, that ability you mentioned earlier is called Black Whip, one of the abilities of a previous One for All holder. And is that bad or good? Izuku felt confused that All Might knew about this and never told him. It never happened to me, but my mentor once mentioned something similar, a strange appearance in her dreams of the old holders. It's creepy, imagine a guy talking to you while you sleep. So, I just have to control it, doesn't sound difficult, actually, I think it's fun. Izuku activated One for All and threw a strong punch into the air. Changing the subject, are you leaving today? Izuku nodded and began to swing his swords. Today at 10 p.m., according to Wade, we should be there at 3 a.m., Izuku looked at All Might, who had a worried look, which was odd because it didn't fit his smile. Later on, it was dark. Mayuri had gone out to take out the trash, still thinking about how weirdly the green-haired boy had left the mansion. He wasn't like that. Hello, grumpy miss, Izuku appeared behind Mayuri. Yikes. Mayuri jumped, throwing an elbow at Izuku behind her. Idiot, can't you just appear normally? I tried to make a dramatic exit through an alley, then I realized we don't have alleys. Izuku smiled, and so did Mayuri. You have to leave, don't you? She asked, making Izuku open his eyes in surprise. How do you know? Izuku was quite surprised she figured it out. I don't know, maybe because you're wearing all black right now, black hoodie, black pants, black gloves, and 2 katanas on your back. At that moment, Izuku truly felt like a complete idiot. I already knew it was because of that, he tried to play it cool. Is it a hero mission? Mayuri asked, confused. It's strange that you have to do this kind of work so late at night. Something like that, you could say, and the reason we're leaving so late at night is to avoid drawing attention, Izuku said defensively. Mayuri didn't completely believe him, but it was fine by her. Will you come back? She asked with a shy expression. I always do. Izuku took something out of his pocket and handed it to Mayuri. It's a letter, it's an apology to Miss Erina and Miss Momo in case I don't show up for work tomorrow. I really don't have time to give it to them. Okay, Mayuri took it and tucked it into her apron. I'll give it to them on your behalf. Mayuri. Momo's voice yelled angrily. I just used the wrong detergent. I have to go, Izuku. When she turned back to where Izuku was, he was gone. What are you doing? Momo asked, seeing Mayuri just standing there. Nothing, pulling the letter out of her apron. Izuku sent this. Izuku was here? Momo asked, surprised he didn't come to see her. Why didn't he look for me? Maybe because you're ugly. Mayuri stuck her tongue out and hurried back to the mansion. Why did you pour nitric acid on my underwear? Momo started chasing her. In the distance, Izuku watched the scene, laughing. 8:30 p.m. Inko was humming a song happily while preparing dinner. You seem remarkably happy, Mom. Izumi came down to make mashed potatoes. Well, your brother won the sports festival. How can I not be happy? Despite how we treated him, he pursued his dream and now he's about to achieve it, Inko replied. But in the sports festival, I couldn't fulfill the promise I made to you. Instead, I lost and couldn't bring Izuku home. Izumi's expression looked completely defeated. Don't worry about that, dear. He's fine, and that's what matters. Inko was interrupted by the doorbell. Who could it be at this hour? I'll go see. Izumi hurried to answer the door, already called back to her room. I'm coming. Izumi opened the door annoyed, but her expression changed when she saw who was behind it. Hey, Izuku asked, smiling as he noticed his sister's lack of reaction. Earth to Izumi. Nothing? Should I go? Who is Izu? Inko couldn't believe what she was seeing. She looked at her daughter, who was just as shocked. Is that you, Izuku? She asked, her voice trembling. Do you know anyone else with messy green hair and super handsome around here? He asked with a smile. Without saying anything, the woman just threw herself into his arms. Izuku tensed at this action, about to pull away, but in the end, he didn't. He felt that his mother had already suffered too much, and there was nothing wrong with it. He also longed for this for a long time, so he calmly placed his hands on her back, returning the hug. Hi, Inko. Inko tensed a bit and let go of the hug. Sorry, Izuku, I saw you standing here, and I couldn't resist, she said. Don't worry, Inko, you don't have to explain. Inko was surprised by this. Her son was a noble and polite young man, which made her proud to a certain extent. Do you want to come in? Izumi grabbed Izuku's hoodie and pulled him inside their house. Sorry, Izuku, come in, dinner's ready. Tell me, do you want to eat, right? Izuku just smiled and nodded. This house is just as I remember. Izuku frowned for a brief moment, but then calmed down. Yeah, and you should check your room, it's still the same. Izuku was surprised by that. Yes, Inko corrected with a smile, go see it while I serve dinner. Izuku went up the stairs to his room. The house was exactly the same, of course, with some different details. Damn. Memories. Many memories of that night came back. How he locked himself in his room. Izumi kicking him out. Arriving in the forest and seeing his destroyed house. How he met the stranger he now loves like a father. Izuku? Huh? Then Izuku finally snapped out of it. He had broken the doorknob of his room, and a faint green light was coming from it. Are you okay? Izuku finished turning the doorknob of his room and entered. The look his sister gave him really calmed him. It was the same as Vanessa's when he came home wounded. I am. He put on a smile and went into the room. He was pleasantly surprised to see that it was exactly the same, except for one of his All Might figures on the bed. Later on, Inko was practicing how to apologize. She still couldn't believe that Izuku was there. It was really a big surprise for her. She had to hold back from apologizing right away. She would do it in a good way. When they all sat down at the table, Izuku realized that his mother was strangely quiet. Mom? Izumi tried to get her attention, seeing that she wasn't saying a word. Izuku, I'm really sorry. I know I was a bad mother, I know I messed up, and God knows I've tried to make it right. I just don't want you to hate me. She finished her sentence on the verge of tears. I don't. This surprised the two Midoriyas present. I really never did. I was just somewhat resentful, you could say. I was afraid to come or face you. But I never hated you, he finished with a smile. Izuku. Both green-haired women threw themselves into Izuku's arms, who was only slightly taken aback by this. Later on, Any Park lol. 50 seconds late, kid. Do you know how important 50 seconds are to save your life? Deadpool shouted, trying to hit him with his katana. It took longer than I expected, Izuku just dodged. Today had really been a very tiring day. Very well, kid, as I taught you, knife in, guts out. Let's finish this quickly. Momo was locked in her room ever since Izuku returned. She noticed his behavior was somewhat different. He seemed more relaxed in his way of speaking, always on the defensive, and the strangest thing. Why didn't he tell her he was leaving? Normally, he would ask her. Abandoned building. Is this for real? No one would dare come here at night. Why do we have to keep watch? I already told you, all for one wants maximum security possible. Reloading his weapon, we don't know, a lot can happen in an instant. You're right, my dear Bambi. Deadpool delivered a strong blow to his head, causing his eyes to turn white and him to faint. The other one is yours. Izuku quickly used the katana handle to strike the other guy's forehead. If you're going to give yourself away like that, I don't see the difference between if All Might had come here. Yeah, whatever you say, kid, now we'll cut through that alley. He pointed to a large, dark alley. Nope, not happening. Me and alleys don't get along at all. What are you talking about, kid? Deadpool was loading his pistol. I bet a nut there's something in there. Deal. Deadpool entered the alley, and within 5 seconds, he was thrown out by a large swirl of blue fire. Dobby, hey, long time no see. Oh, right, since two little girls defeated you on your turf. Izuku began to smile with great superiority. Dabi began to look at him with hatred. You know, Toga, no matter how hard you try, you won't even touch me. We won't know until we try. Dabi unleashed a large amount of blue fire, forcing Izuku to jump onto a building. Hey, imitation bastard, imitation broccoli, he pointed behind Izuku, watch out. Izuku didn't have time to react, and a large amount of blue fire hit him from behind. Twice. Idiot, Izuku held his arm where the fire hit as he got up. Like my copy? Well, it was really a pain in the ass to take Da's measurements. Twice was interrupted when a bullet pierced his skull. Okay, this was a stealth mission, but it's gone to hell, so let's just wreak havoc, kid, now. Deadpool pulled the katana out of Twice's brain and used it to shield himself from Toga's needles, who was smiling ecstatically. Got it. Izuku activated his full cowled at 15% and started destroying everything within reach. I really don't understand the point of what he's doing. Dabi looked puzzled at Izuku's actions. Wasn't this supposed to be a stealth mission? That was the idea at first. Izuku grabbed a tree he had destroyed and threw it at a building, but if we were discovered, we had to lure All for One here. Kid, if you're done narrating your villain-winning plan, I'd appreciate a hand with your psycho girlfriend, Deadpool shouted as he removed 5 needles from his abdomen, and Toga stabbed another into his back. Son of a bitch, kid. Izuku was about to go help Deadpool when a building near them exploded in such a grotesque manner that even Wade let out a scream. Am I the only one that scared the shit out of? Deadpool picked up the dropped katana. I did. Does that count? Twice sat on the ground. If I move, I'm going to bleed, I'm not moving from here. They wanted the final boss, they've got the final boss, Dabi sighed as they all watched All for One calmly float in, smiling. Deadpool, that dude doesn't even have a face, how's he smiling? You had to ruin the serious moment. Deadpool, oh, that was in the script, sorry for the interruption. Okay, let's continue. I don't know if you're very brave or very stupid to come here just the two of you, All for One said as he floated a few meters away. What did you say? I couldn't hear you from down here, speak up, damn it, Deadpool yelled from below. I don't know if you're very brave or very stupid to come here just the two of you. His voice echoed much louder. Aye, Captain. Couldn't hear you. Deadpool now laughed at All for One. Are you fooling yourself into thinking you're funny? All for One sounded quite angry. What did you say? I can't hear your dumb references. Wade started laughing at All for One, while Izuku just widened his eyes, somewhat scared. Wade, look up. The mercenary turned to look up just to see All for One compressing a large amount of air in his hand and then adding dark energy to it. Oh crap. Deadpool sheathed his katana and started running along with everyone else under All for One. Last one, there's a dumb Twice. And how's that my fault? Twice started shooting at Wade. Don't die yet. All for One directed his attack exactly where they were all standing. You have to entertain me more than this. The attack caused an earthquake that shook a large part of the sector where they were. You're a dumbass, All for One, Wade said as he emerged from under a large wall. Who died besides Dabi? I'm still alive. Dabi stuck a hand out of the ground. Damn, Toga was really disappointed. What was that? Did you want me to die? He didn't finish speaking because he heard a loud shockwave. You're strong, kid, All for One smiled excitedly as he saw Izuku block his punch. Yeah, I get told that a lot. Izuku jumped back to avoid another whirlwind of air. So, you're All for One? I pictured you more purple with a golden glove. In a fight, you don't talk. All for One grabbed Izuku's face and slammed him to the ground. Let's see if you still feel like talking. For my balls. Wade jumped with his katana trying to stab All for One, but with a single movement of air, he sliced him into pieces. I look like ham. Now, let's kill the 9th holder of One for All. Where did he? Izuku landed a direct hit on All for One's face while using 100%. So, that's the price you pay for using One for All? All for One approached slowly. Nah, sometimes it's cheaper. Izuku got up and held his arm. It really hurt, like hell, but he was going to endure it. It'll cost you plenty. All for One punched him in the stomach followed by one to his face, finishing with a huge compressed air blast that left Izuku in the middle of a wall. Kid. Wade ran towards where Izuku was. Damn son of a bitch, I'm going to kill you. Wade's tone sounded furious. Prepare your ass. How did you regenerate so quickly? Well, it doesn't matter because soon I'll kill you too. As if that were possible, All for One prepared another attack, but something caught everyone's attention. Hey, is it normal for my love to do that? Toga pointed to the wall where Izuku was, greatly surprised to hear how grotesquely they were adjusting. This moment is what I call happiness. All for One felt confused by Wade's words. Hey, All for One, Izuku raised his gaze with blood-red eyes. Have you ever danced with the devil in the pale moonlight? He's possessed now. Twice got scared and started to back away slowly. You're amazing, Izuku. All for One sounded happy. You finally show me the T80, it's grand. A kick from Izuku sent him flying. You know, I don't usually talk while I fight. Izuku had a sadistic smile on his face. So, T80 is my name? Well, I don't care, to be honest, I just have the urge to kill you. Then it really worked, I feel very happy. What I thought was a failure bore fruit in the end. Blah blah blah. Now in the blink of an eye, Izuku had landed a combo of punches on All for One. This isn't enough. All for One pulled out a red syringe and quickly stabbed it into Izuku's chest. No, I don't want to go to sleep again, not again. Wade started shooting but all the bullets were caught with one hand by All for One. You're not enough to kill me, Motormouth. I won't be enough. A huge explosion occurred. I'm here, young Midoriya. But he is.